you've really got this incredible foundational head start really to being able to do this, which a lot of the times when I'm taking companies and people through this, you don't have. So keep in mind when we're going through this, the kind of things that you've been learning from your customers, the motivators, the barriers, the struggles, the goals, the pushes, the pulls that people have been telling you and that you've been mapping into your messaging houses. So whenever we're thinking about ads, a lot of the time, and I have spent a lot of time with a lot of founders or product people or people within companies altogether who perceive ads to just be ads, oh, it's just a Facebook ad. But really, ads are not just ads, Like, what I would really love to know from all of you today is, like, what can our ads help us with? What are some of those other things rather than being just a Facebook ad? Like, why should we run ads? Reach people at scale, acquire new customers, absolutely. Brand, drive traffic to the website, run experiments, I love that one. Lead gen, traffic, absolutely. Try out new messaging, learn what messaging resonates with our target audiences. This is great, you're speaking my language. Retargeting, sales, I love this. There's a lot of different reasons there. These are some of my other reasons, as you've mentioned, like reaching new audiences. Learnings is a really important one. They're really fast on ads. You can put something in front of people and you can see results really, really quickly. If you're an app and you're on iOS, you can see it a little bit less quickly now, but you can still get these learnings a lot quicker than in a lot of other ways that you might be thinking about. We can do these messaging tests, help us understand the brand. It can help us test with features as well. If you're thinking about doing any features in your app or building anything, you can do like a full store test with your ads. You can see how people are interested in it. You can see how people are engaging with certain concepts or features. Get mad growth. If you're doing this right, you can scale dramatically. It will give you a good understanding of your ROI, and there are a million more reasons. So my next question is, how many channels are you using at the moment? Like, how many channels are you running? How are they going? 2 for Alex, 1, 3, 1. Nice. Okay, so everyone, acquisition channels, paid ads channels, please. Okay, good. So 5. Good heavens. Incredible. So Google and Meta. Awesome. And how many of these channels are you happy with? Are you happy with the performance there? 0 out of 2 for Alex. 1 out of 5. 0 out of 3. Okay. This is what I hear a lot of the time, we're just not happy, 0.5. We're just not happy with how our channels are performing. And a lot of this is because it's really hard to understand how to run these channels. You get thrown in front of this dashboard where no one knows really just instinctively how to use it. You're not given a strategy. Every advertiser does something different. No two people are doing it the same. But that's really why I'm very excited to share all of this with you, because it's so important that, like, for me, I found something that really works well, and handing over the reins to you guys and teaching you to fish with the knowledge that you've already accumulated really with systems so far. I think you'll be in a really good position here. So what I always say, and within our business, and what I always recommend to anyone, is just starting with one. If you're unhappy with all 5 out of 5 of your channels, like, pare it back. And we have to think about lots of different things when we're starting to launch a channel. And some of these are, how much are we what's our total budget and what will that account for? I had a meeting just the other day with someone telling me, she's got a little bit of budget, like 10 grand, and she wants to test multiple channels to see which one works. But what you're going to do if you start testing across multiple channels is that you're not going to get learnings on any of them, because there's a minimum amount that you need to be able to spend to be able to get some learnings. And so whenever we're thinking about the different channels, what I always say is, you don't choose your channel. Like, you don't pick if it's Google search or if it's Facebook. Like, that chooses you based on the nature of how the people that are your audience would interact with you. So if you are a consumer product or consumer app, potentially, you're trying to get in front of lots and lots of people and you're trying to monetize, your channel's meta to begin with, you know. If you're a free product, like I've worked with lots of companies and products which don't monetize from their audience, they monetize in different ways, potentially through brand partnerships or B2B in the background, but they want to have really great engagement, then we would be thinking about TikTok, because people on TikTok aren't, you know, trained almost in the same way as they are on Meta over years and years of conditioning to purchase. You know, if you have a product that people are searching for and it's a solution to a known problem, then you're probably going to want to think about Google search. But what this is a strategy for is for any channel which is creative first. So that could be Google with YouTube, with their display, with their app campaigns. This could be for Meta across Facebook and Instagram. This could be TikTok. This could be Reddit. You know, any of these channels which you think about are visual and creative first, this is where you can apply this. So today we're going to go over this plan, the 6-step plan. And these slides will be shared with you, but feel free to screenshot anything, of course, to go over this 6-step plan to show you exactly how we within my company run ads and how we get those learnings. So I'll just go over this top level first, and then we'll go into them kind of step by step. So firstly, talk to customers and analyze reviews. I know you guys have already done this, so this is fantastic. Like, you know, we're already getting those learnings. We've already looked at our reviews. We've already pulled out goals, struggles, you know, and whenever we've done that, then we go into what is our plan. We've pulled that out. We'll go over how I do that exactly and how we turn those into copy. We'll go over how we launch a campaign with examples of what these might look like, how we gather data, what are the different things that we're looking at when we're gathering data, what we learn from that, and then how we iterate it. So we're going to go over all of those things today. So anytime anyone has any questions, you know, feel free to write in the box, of course, or jump in. So why creative first, really? Like, in the olden days, and when I say olden days, I literally mean 3 years ago, and before that, you know, there was this movement towards micro optimizations of audiences. So you're like, oh, I really want to find people who are between the ages of 27 and 30 who are into this very specific thing, who live in this postcode. And actually, over the last few years, this has changed a lot, not just because Meta have removed some of the targeting options and have removed the ability for you to target hyper specifically, but because of Apple as well. They have made it, they have brought something in 2021 where you actually have to really target in bulk. You can't see things on that personal level anymore in the same way. But on top of that, you know, if we're doing that in that way and we're not experimenting on creatives and we just have this one message that we're trying to push out, or this brand message that we're trying to push out, people get bored, you know? They see your ad too often. Once you have even a frequency above 2, people are seeing your ad too often. When that happens, it means that your costs increase. So when I say your costs, I mean literally your impressions cost more. That means your clicks cost more. Your click-through rate will also decrease because people will have seen this before. They will have seen the same message, just on a different design potentially. That will mean your leads, your installs, your actions that people are doing after that click will the rate of that will decline, and then your costs overall will increase, which means you're making less money. You know, your revenue will decline. So what we're always saying is that limited messages and curated audiences will just saturate quickly. You know, if you're uploading an audience list and you're targeting people in an audience list, or even if you've built a lookalike from an uploaded audience list, that's going to saturate very quickly. We want to use the platform's own signals. You know, we want to map in our own events so that we can build audiences off that, so that we can use their signals to do the targeting. So whenever we're thinking about, let's say there's a drinks brand, a lot of the time, if you're a drinks brand or any brand, a lot of what you're doing is saying, look at us, we're this product, we're just saying our one message, you know, here's our one message, and just repeating that over and over again. But what that means is we're only targeting one batch of people there. Those people right in the middle who love that drink, you know, if you're leaning on brand messaging. But what about all of those other dots, you know? How do we reach all of these other lovely little red dots. You know, they're your people that might like organic things. They like love the branding that you have. I know a lot of people who buy little drinks, including me, because they're just cute looking. You know, how do we target those people? How do we target people who just love that flavor? How do we target people who it makes feel something, or, you know, it relieves stress, or it helps them get focused, or there's so many other reasons that someone might buy something. And what we're doing by just targeting people who love this drink already, or who've heard of this brand already, is excluding everyone else. And we have to remember that anybody could be our potential audience. Anyone could be our customer, but we just need to say different things to them and say it in different ways to get them to convert. So just take that with you. You know, how do we switch this around? We stop worrying about targeting. We start slower, you know, as you can see, like we start slower and then we scale. And we do this by focusing on our creatives. So, you know, this might feel like back to the olden days again, but what we have now, like, and I mean the olden days, before there was even digital advertising, you know, when we were doing billboards, you're focusing on that creative, you're focusing on the psychology, you're focusing on how you're talking to people. But what we have is this magical power to be able to see how specific creatives, how specific messages, how specific designs are performing with different people at different times. And we can see that pretty instantly, which we can't do with out of home or anything like that, which is billboards and things like that. So to be creative first, there are two things that we need to do, mostly. There are many things that we need to do, but these are the two pillars. We have to talk to our customers. We have to really talk to them and really have a deep understanding of them. So you guys have got such an incredible head start by having done this already. And then we focus on design. So we want to be prolific with our ideas, but we always want to base them in data. So whenever we're starting with any company that we're working with, we always start with a brainstorm. You know, they fill out a big long onboarding form about psychology, about their consumer, about what people have been saying. They provide us with quotes, and then we do a big brainstorming session. So you guys do have a massive head start here. So what we're going to do now is look at the planning side of things, and how to turn that into copy. So we've already spoken about speaking to your customers, and now we're going to talk about the goals and the struggles here. So we've already done this. We've recorded all of the possible reasons that would either prevent you or encourage a customer from buying our product, you know? So, and if you're stuck about this, you can't think of anything, you've recorded all of your conversations. So just look back at that, you know, literally put them into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, like, what are some of the main goals and struggles here that someone is having? You can literally do that and it will tell you. So we're going to identify, eventually, when we've got this, we've done our brainstorm, we're going to map out lots of these. And usually after a brainstorm, we take away like 10, 20 different ideas from this. So we're going to select 3 or 4, something like that. You can pick up to 5 if you like, goals and struggles that feel like the biggest opportunity. And here you really just have to start with what your feelings are. You know, you can layer on like something if you've noticed that multiple people are saying it that you've spoken to, but you really just have to go with what are some of these things which are very differentiated from each other, and then start from there. Because you don't want to have 2 things which might be very, very close to each other, because then you're not going to have as much room for optimization around that one. And something could be an optimization of itself, of another one, for example, if they're close. So we want to differentiate these, and then we want to go into making our creatives. So making our video, making our animation, making our static, if that's the easiest thing to do for us, which a lot of the time it is, and that's what we always get started on, static creatives. And if you have existing creatives or assets already, you can literally just change the copy on those. You know, you don't have to design anything fantastic and new. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. All we want to do is have something very, very simple. And I'm going to give you some examples of these in a moment. So these here are a couple of quotes at the top from a company I used to work with called Curio. So Curio is an audio journalism app, and they curate content from different publications and then narrate it with human voices. These were 2 quotes that we had during lockdown from customer conversations. So one of them was, I'm in lockdown, but it feels like I can still explore. Reason to believe is RTB. I can still explore from my couch. You know, whenever we're thinking about that, we turn that into a reason to buy or a reason to believe. And the reason that someone might buy because of that quote is that they can listen to thousands of stories. There's a wide range of different things, and they can do it from the comfort of their own home. They don't have to go out to do this, but they're still exploring. Feel like they're taking their mind for a ride, you know? So we turned that into the exact ad copy. Stuck at home, take your mind for a ride. And guess what? Everyone was stuck at home at that time. So it was really timely, appropriate copy that was directly tied to a customer struggle. Conversely, we can look at how we do it with a goal. So someone said, life-changing, I've learned so many fascinating things. So their goal there is that they want to learn, you know, they want to be fascinated, they want self-improvement. So it's a positive side of things. It's something that they're trying to achieve. So the reason to buy or the reason to believe here is that there's a wide range of sources and topics, and that there's something for everyone. You know, I've learned so many fascinating things. It's a wide range. And we distilled that down into very, very simple ad copy, which was just learn something new every day. Simple. So now we're going to launch our campaign, and within that, I'm going to show you some examples here. So this is actually from a company that came through this program about a year or so ago, and we ran this process with them and saw some amazing results. So we had this quote here. Well, we had 3 quotes, which, because there were 3 main buckets of people using this product. There were people that really wanted to help the planet, there were people who wanted to make money, and there were people who just generally wanted to be rewarded. And what this app was, My World, was an app that helped you track your eco actions. So if you took the bus, or you went, had leftovers, or you recycled, and then it would reward you. And you could change your rewards for real money, or you could change your rewards for different brand rewards or prizes and things like this. So we pulled out these different kind of ICPs, and we tested alongside them. So we had get paid while saving the world. This is for people who want to make money and want to help the planet. Then there's people who just want to help the planet, and they are people who for them, saving the world has never been so easy. That's all that they're wanting to do there. And then there's the get rewarded people. And we pulled out this doing your bit, because people kept telling us this. They kept saying in our customer conversations, I want to feel like I'm doing my bit. You know, I want to do my bit for the planet. So here we said, get rewarded for doing your bit. So what I'm trying to show you here is how simple these ads can be. You know, we've got a globe, we've got a logo, and then we've got the line of text. Statics. This is some examples and another way to run these. So here you can see that for this app, Juno, and this is a strategy that works with mobile apps, but also off mobile apps, by the way. This is an app called Juno, which is a financial education product. So here we know that this 5 minutes a day thing was something that they wanted to maintain, and also we wanted to have the rest of the copy as a control. And we just wanted to find out which topic or theme will be most appealing to our audience. So learn about salary negotiation and get money confident in 5 minutes a day. Learn about investing and get money confident in 5 minutes a day. Learn about budgeting and get money confident in 5 minutes a day. So here you can see, you know, design pretty much the same, line of copy, the same. It's just that one word, and even one word can make a massive difference here. And then I want to show you these ones from Curio, and I'm going to show you the actual results for these afterwards as well, like the actual results that we saw in platform. So I'm going to play these ads for you. They're videos this time, and so this is a way that we can validate with motion. So firstly, we had this one here, journalism you can trust. Cool. And you can watch the rest of it, and it's all going to be the same as the rest of the ads. Then we've got don't read the news, listen to it. And then the rest of the ad is the same as the one before. And then C, letter C, is learn new ideas every day, which you saw in the previous slide as well. So here, learn new ideas every day. So these are very, very simple, just a screen recording in there. And, you know, if you wanted to start validating with motion, this would be a great place to start. Or you can start with statics and then go into motion as well whenever you've already validated some of our messages. So what I want to know from you is, which of these, A, B, or C, do you think performed best? B. Don't read the news, listen to it. Whoa, that's a lot of B's. It's a landslide of B's. Okay, some C's coming in. Okay, lots of B's, lots of C's. No one thinks journalism you can trust. That one, it usually gets voted for quite a lot here. So I'm not going to reveal that to you just yet, but I will tell you in a moment. Because, and then what, you know, after we've done that, what happens next, you know? We're going to gather data. We're going to learn from that data. Oh, Rishi put in an A. Very good, okay. We're going to gather data. We're going to pull the metrics from each of the creatives from your ads manager. You're going to look at them from that perspective. You know, you have already defined what is the metric that you're going to judge your success on. Is that clicks? Is that leads? Is that trials? Is that sales? You know, you have to have defined that in advance so you know how you're judging the success of your creative. And then we're going to learn from them. So whenever we just looked at these creatives before. Journalism you can trust, don't read the news, listen to it, and learn new ideas every day. So here you can see that for journalism you can trust, we had a CPA of £89. For don't read the news, listen to it, we had a CPA of £55. And for learn new ideas every day, we had a CPA of £23. And this is where a CPA is a cost per trial for the subscription. So we can also see here what the click-through rates were. So learn new ideas every day obviously has a really high click-through rate. So that's something that's really, really appealing for a lot of people at the top of the funnel as well. And this is something that has trickled down. But for everyone watching this, you know, that's a really good question, Alex. Is there anything else that you can spot between these numbers? I'll go into some more detail on these in the next slide, but which of these converted the best? From click. Any thoughts? A, exactly. No, not B. A converted the best from click. So we're gonna look at this and look at why. So here we can see that Journalism You Can Trust had 1,000 clicks, you know, it had 22 conversions, which meant that the click to conversion was actually, they're all targeted at the same audience, broad, we always target broad. The click to conversion for Journalism You Can Trust was 2.25%. So 2.25, over 2% of the people who clicked converted, which is a really, really high number. That means they went through the install, they went through the onboarding, they created their account, they went on to convert. With the other ones, we can see we had so many more clicks. You know, we had 5,000 clicks, we had 12,000 clicks, but then the click to conversion was much, much lower, 0.73, 0.72. And so what we can do, what we can tell by this is learn new ideas every day is a message that's targeted at a lot of people, you know. It's not converting super, super well, but what we're doing is bringing in a lot of people, and then we can retarget people later on. So as we start to get more strategic with our thinking here, we start to pull out and look at the numbers more generally, look at all of the different stages of the funnel of our journey, and look at how people are converting with different creatives, with different messages at different sides of the funnel. So the way that we were judging the success of this campaign was on CPA. So whichever one had the best CPA, that was the one that was working. If we were judging something on which is the highest converting one, that would have been a different experiment, and we would have had Journalism You Can Trust as the winner. But what we did from this now is look at, okay, this one has the highest click to conversion. So we're going to use that message in our product. We're going to use that message in our emails. We're going to use that message throughout other elements, you know, on our paywalls, because we can see that that's a high converting message, you know. I know we're getting a bit more in depth here, but this is a really, really important thing for you all to take away from this as well, that we're not just looking at this one metric, which might be click-through rate or cost per click or cost per sale or whatever. We want to look at everything holistically eventually. And so this is a really good example of how you can do that and how you can expand those learnings to different parts of your funnel, even when you're focusing on one part at that moment, you know. And the good thing about having your ads all in your ads manager is that you can go back and retroactively look at this at any time. You know, you might be thinking, okay, for this quarter, we're focusing on this one metric, but next quarter, you're going to go back and look at those same experiments that you ran and look at how they performed with other metrics, with other conversion points, you know. Would that be the bottom of the funnel? I'm not sure what you mean there, Rishi. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And even deeper than that initial paywall, you know, with comms that we're sending out after that first couple of minutes, with win back emails, you know, with our retargeting ads as well. One thing that we learned with this company was that with journalism you can trust, and with focusing on the journalism side, that was a really amazing way for us to bring people back. So one thing that we did was we then created carousels focusing on different elements of journalism, and we targeted people to bring them back into the product with those. You know, we might not have been acquiring them for those. And for some people we were acquiring with journalism. Of course, you can see 22 people got acquired with journalism you can trust. But for a lot of them, that's something that was converting them to selling during that time. I see that there are a couple hands up, so we'll go to Robin. Yeah, hello. Absolutely it did. So what we were doing with this was starting with our foundational messaging test. And what we do next, and I will show you some examples, and I'll show you examples of how we scale this on our accounts as well, is go into design tests, which then goes into UGC, which then could go into custom product pages if you're a mobile app, and so on. So we're getting all of our foundational learning from these messaging tests at the beginning. If we're not seeing big discrepancies between the performance of these different messages, then the differences aren't big enough, you know, if you're just doing small tweaks. Or if you're seeing things that aren't statistically significant, then you're going to want to keep either running them for longer or go back and try different messages so that we can see big differences here around certain metrics. But we'll go into some of these examples in a moment. Rishi, again, hello. When I blended these messages together, we didn't blend these messages together, really. We didn't say like learn new ideas from journalism you can trust, for example. But what we did was we built out specific flows around specific things. Yeah, well, I can't share like all of the stats from the whole company basically, but yeah, we definitely saw that there was uplift on how we were using this. So we managed to get a really high converting product by doing all of these experiments, which is why at the beginning I was asking why, you know, what are ads for? You know, and it's for learning even messages that you can put inside your product. So when we're thinking about these messaging tests, it's not just for ads, you know, it's for our website, it's for our landing pages, it's for our app store, it's for inside our product, it's for our emails as well. So we can get lots and lots of learnings from these. Cool. Let's go to the next slide. So now we're going to talk about iterations. And at the end, we're going to have a bit of time for open conversation. So if you have any questions at the end, just get ready. I'm going to do an open forum, go through everybody. So now we're going to talk about how we refine our creatives based on our learnings, and then how we start to scale them. So iterations. So you probably remember this one from 10 minutes ago, which was learn about budgeting and get money confident in 5 minutes a day. So this was our most successful creative here, from out of salary negotiation, investment, and budgeting. So what we did then was we took that line, and what we wanted to do was revalidate it with design. So is it something about this design that's just working really well? Let's try and see if we can beat this design. So then we've got a template for any other messaging only tests that we're going to be doing in the future. So we're going to be always coming back to these messaging tests. Don't mean every week, but every quarter we're coming back to these messaging tests. So we did these very simple designs, learn about budgeting and get money confident in 5 minutes a day. You know, we also want to make sure that it wasn't just a fluke. So we're retesting this concept again before we go too heavy into it. So we saw then with this one, this is an example of an iteration. So we saw with this one, the one on the left performed the best, but we already knew budgeting was working really well. So we're going to look at in a moment how that performed and how we scaled that budgeting a bit more. We've got these iterations. So this was our original ad, learn new ideas every day. Discover narrated articles from the best publications. So what you can see then in the next creative is it says, take a break and learn something new. And actually, you don't need to get expensive with these. You don't need to have any high production creatives here. As I mentioned at the beginning, we were filming these ones specifically in lockdown. And I love including this as an example because that's my kitchen and that's my old housemate, you know? I just filmed him on his phone, here in the one in the middle, with his bolognese at lunch. And so that was just for us to put into that creative. And we'll look at this one here again. Learn something new every day. And we had people at home doing home things because of the time that it was. So it was free for us to make this creative. You know, we didn't have to go out and do expensive things. But what we're doing here is showing iterations through motion, iterations through UGC, and so on. So this is a good way to scale this. And by doing these iterations and showing the app in situ, we managed to bring down the costs already. So we're not just kind of ending with that £23 cost per action. You know, that's our starting point. Now we're trying to beat that. We're using that one as our benchmark. Now what can we do to optimize that one further? So we're adding in layers of video. We're adding in iterations on that message. We're adding in custom flows now, if we can do that. Let's go to the next page. So we're going to talk a little bit more about UGC because at the moment there's a huge movement towards UGC. It's becoming more accessible than ever for you to get content creators to make ads for you. So UGC, I'm sure everyone knows what that is, but just in case, that stands for user generated content, which basically means that you've got someone to make a video for you, and they could be in it, they could be speaking in it, they could be doing a voiceover, they could just be eating their bolognese or cleaning the side, you know, but it's content that's made by just the layman, you know, it's not high production content. So we're gonna look at this one, get paid while saving the world. This is the one that won from our previous batch, if you remember, so no surprises for me here. You know, get paid is a high converting, it's a very clicky message, you know, get paid while saving the world. This is something that performed really well. So what we wanted to do then is scale that into UGC. So hopefully you can hear these, but we're gonna look at some of these videos and see how we turn this into UGC. Nopodon, if you could just give me a thumb when I play it, so if you can hear the audio. You can hear it? No. Okay. Might have to take my headphones out.
Plastic app called My World. With all the news about the climate crisis, it's easy to get overwhelmed or feel helpless.
Still no. Okay. Okay. Let me look. Share screen. Oh, share sound. Here we go. Do I have to put my password in? Is it going to turn everything off? Oh no, let's not do that because I'll have to leave. Okay, we're just going to read the subtitles for now because if I share the sound, it will make me leave, but it's fine. All of the subtitles are there anyway. So this was an incredibly high performing ad. I'm gonna just show you the very beginnings of the other ones as well, so you can compare. So this first one says, with all of the information about the climate crisis, it's easy to get overwhelmed or feel helpless. The rest of the entire video is the exact same as the rest of the other videos. So what we're doing here is just changing the hook. We're just changing the hook because the average amount of time that someone watches on social media is less than 2 seconds. So we're testing here the hook so that we can see which hook is going to get people to stop. And then we've got the rest of the video, which is standardized. So want to make a positive impact on the environment and get rewarded for it. That was the whole hook. And then we have, similar to the first creative I showed you before, get paid to save the environment. Did you know you could get paid to save the environment, she says. And then the rest of the whole ad is the exact same. So we included then product shots, we included lots of information about how the product works, a whole walkthrough, and this was an incredibly high performing ad. And actually we had a 96%, which I don't know if anyone knows how high that is, but 96% thumb stop rate on these ads, which is insanely high. You know, the average that you're usually going to see is about 15%. So 96% is absolutely bonkers. And we then ended up working with this creator because we were seeing really amazing results on different videos. You don't need to get a creator every single time, but what you're going to want to do is find a creator, find a video that works, and then start testing your creators as well. So this is how we then iterated. So we had the exact same script, basically, or no, we didn't use the same script with this person, but we used this person with multiple clients, basically. So, but essentially the same messages, and we were finding the ones that had been performing the best. So she was saying, here's how I make money while saving the environment. So that's directly linked to the learnings that we have from the previous creatives and the messaging test that we've already run. So here's how I make money by saving the environment. We then have another one because we wanted to test again, can we go into this environment angle, or do we only need to lean on this money angle? So again, we use the exact same rest of the video, but just change the end. If you feel like you need to do more to protect the environment, then this one's for you, she says. And then she goes into, My World is an app that gives you rewards while helping you protect the environment. So yes, this is how we scale that. And then another example is learn about budgeting and get money confident in 5 minutes a day. So with this, we had these 3 creatives, which I'll show you. One of them in the middle had against the control, which by the way, this is the control. So we have this creative, and then we've got the other 3 running so that it's an experiment. We have one thing as a control always. One of them in the middle came in at 50% of the control. So it was half the price of the control. So we beat it by 50%. The second one there had 65% of the control. So that was also much cheaper than the control. And then the one on the left was 200%. So it was double the price basically of the control. So it cost more. And so I'll show you the intro for the one on the left. You're just gonna have to watch them. Yeah? Of course it can, but you have to test out different creators. You know, you're not going to know immediately which creator is going to get you the best costs, which one is going to get you the best clicks. You just have to start somewhere, and then you have to start optimizing for it. But do they like food? I don't know if that's a trick question. But yeah, everything that you do will have an impact on CPM, but the thing that you don't have control of is CPM. So your CPM is going to fluctuate even with the same creative dramatically throughout the year. I would be more focused on what are my clicks, what are people doing after that click, and optimizing around that rather than CPM, which we don't have any control of. So I'll just show you the very beginning of the first video and the very beginning of the other 2 videos, and then if you can, you know, have a guess why the first one performed 4 times as bad as the second one. I'm gonna play that again for you. Oops. So she starts with going, pfft. Cool. The second one, she just starts with, I am so broke. So exact same other intro. She starts with, I am so broke, I just literally can't make my money last. And then this is the third one. I can't believe how expensive everything is getting. I need to start budgeting better. So any guess why the first one there was 4 times the price of the next one? She does an exasperation. If no one can guess, I will tell you. So the reason that this was more expensive is because we have to remember that people only watch the first 1 to 2 seconds of your video. And so the first 1 to 2 seconds is just her being exasperated. You know, they don't actually get any of the material. And so we thought, you know, that will be a funny kind of intro with her going, oh. But actually, by cutting into the I am so broke instead, we actually quartered the cost from the previous one by not having her just being exasperated at the beginning. So all I'm trying to show you here is the importance of the hook. The rest of those videos were basically the same. It was just that at the beginning, that 4 times the cost versus the next one. So this is how we scale into UGC. We identified that budgeting was the area that we wanted to focus on. And so we went into videos about budgeting. You can see here even highlighted. I need to get better. I need to get better at budgeting. You know, I'm so broke. Like, it's all about budgeting there. And then, as I mentioned, is how we scale that with a new actor. So once we've got this video that's working, how do we find new actors? How do we scale this out? And when we're doing it properly, we do it in a controlled way. So we had that video, I'm so broke. So the very first thing she says there is, I'm so broke, I just can't seem to make my money last. You see? So we're using the exact same video, we're using the exact same script. Everything is the exact same. We just have a different person. And actually, this video beat the last video, so now she's our favorite creator. Okay, I've got a couple questions. Rob's office. Yeah. That's my line. You know? Yeah, I wrote that. That's one of the most stolen lines of copy, but that's mine. Yeah, so thanks for quoting it. Yeah. Well, the reason people do these things is because it's very eye-catching, you know? So what everyone is trying to do is just get you to stop scrolling as quickly as possible. So increasingly, I am seeing so many more videos and ads coming out where it's absolutely unhinged what they're doing. They've got like the most disgusting thing you can imagine, like as that very first second, because you're going to stop in shock, you know? But you just have to balance these things. Yeah. And so after you start to find these messages and concepts that are working, you can get really, really creative with them. But what I'm trying to put everyone off doing is just going in at that message, in at that kind of crazy, hectic, unhinged video, and then not understanding why it's working, which is what a lot of companies will do. We're trying to validate so that then when we get really creative, we know that this is something that's going to be working already. Now we're trying to eke out more performance by increasing thumb stop rate, by increasing clicks, by increasing the top of funnel with a message that we know is converting. So yeah, I think a lot of these things are to different people's tastes, you know. We're not really doing too many like super unhinged videos within my company, but they're not the kind of, they're harder to find. And actually with one of our companies, we've been cutting together lots and lots of different clips and creating short narratives now, and using ads from that perspective, like with each ad being a little story, starting with shock factor though, now that we've validated a few things. So yeah, I'll pass to Yang. Hello Yang, how are you? Hi. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, none of those people are models that were on any of the ads. Some of them aren't even content creators. Like the girl who says, "I'm so broke," she's an architect that I know, and I got her to make those videos, you know. So we're not always using professional models, but what we are doing with multiple companies is just looking at who are the people that are most engaging with our current ads. Look at that demographic, look at that age group, because you can see that. And then we start creating for people in that age group to begin with. So we're not going to only ever focus there, but what we want to do first is we're identifying a message that's working. We're identifying a group of people that might appeal to, which is our mass market, and we're going down there. So with one of my companies that we're working with at the moment, we've identified like this message around single moms works. So we've been going really far down the single moms route because the product is to help parents build secure attachments with their children. But what we don't want to do is only go down there. So now that we've got one creative direction that's working, we're going back to our messaging tests so that we can find another one, so that we can scale 2 lines of messaging. But what we want to do is end up finding like 3 to 4 lines or directions that we're going to be able to keep on iterating around and keep on sustaining. And that means with our creators, with our landing pages, with the flows inside of, if you have a mobile app, building specific flows inside your product that can account for that. So it doesn't necessarily always need to be like the hottest person in the room or whatever, but you want to have people that are going to appeal to the demographic that's already engaging with your products to begin with. So with that product with single moms, you know, now I'm going to find a creator which is a single mom who can have an authentic relationship with what she's saying. You know, we're not going to chuck some random dad on it to try and talk about that. Like, we have to go down this direction that we're validating. Cool. Pawan? Hello. Hi. So that's really like a how long is a piece of string question. How much spend is required for significance? You know, what we think about is this minimum viable budget almost, and the way that we start to define this is based on how much our conversions are costing. So let's look at it from a really simple perspective. Let's say you have an event that you're trying to optimize for, and that event is costing you £5. Okay? To optimize your campaign, you need to get 50 conversions per week. So you need to budget 50 times 5 per week, £250, which would be £35 per day-ish. That is per ad set. So you need to be able to budget that amount. If your conversion is costing you not £5, but £5,000, then you need to budget 50 times that as well, divided by 7 per day. You know, so we work backwards like that. And if you're not budgeting enough to get those learnings, then you're basically just throwing your money away and you shouldn't like be running on it. But what you can do then is go further up the funnel. So if your conversions are costing you a lot for this purchase or for a trial or for a subscription or for something like that, then we will optimize for a registration. Instead, we'll optimize for a lead to begin with, so we can start to get those initial learnings through. So we do whatever is our CPA times 50 divided by 7. I'll go to Max because he hasn't asked anything yet, and then we'll go back to Rob and then Rishi. And then I think we might be at time. So what we're always trying to do is pre-qualify people with our message as much as possible. So what we're going to be doing then is looking at, okay, these are the messages that we're running, these are how people are coming through, and this is the kind of people that are coming through. And so the event that we might be judging success by might be the quality of the people, or how many people are converting to whatever action it is that we're trying to get them to do. If we're starting with really broad messaging as well, then we would, if it's all broad messages, then broad people are going to come in. So what we want to do is have broad targeting, but specific messages. Really broad targeting, but really specific messages. You know, so, you know, with that single moms creative, for example, it's like, single moms, we're going to help you build secure attachments with your children. It's very clear what that is and who it's for. So we're going to put really, really clear headlines on there, like who is that target audience and what you're helping them achieve. We'll go to Rob, at Rob's room. The Rob room, or okay, well, we're going to be at time in a sec, so I'll answer the one in chat, but for Rob's room and Rishi, I am doing office hours about this as well, so we can go into any of these things in depth, and Claire will be sending around my link thingy afterwards, so we can book in and talk about any of the things that you want to go over. So for Nick's question, is there a monthly spend where you think it important for a team to reconsider who is running their paid ads? That's a really hard question because it really depends on how much of a strategy that company has to follow and how much ownership they want to give away. So for me, for example, if I'm working inside a company, I'm not going to give it to an agency because I can just do it myself. But for a lot of companies, we take over ad accounts that are between, like, literally not spending yet to scale them up, and then we're taking over other accounts that are spending 200,000 and then more than that per month to scale them up. So it really depends. If you have a really experienced growth marketing person, like who knows how to do it, then I would just trust them to do it. My preference would usually be doing it internally, if it was within my own company, if I can find the right person to do it, but it's really hard to find the right person who can think about it in the right way, who can write copy, who can do all of these things. So we can discuss this more, Nick, when we get together in our office hour, but I would say you really just have to find what works best for you and what works best for your company. A smart marketing intern might be able to do it, but they wouldn't be able to provide the strategy. You know, an experienced growth marketing person still might not be able to provide the strategy that you need. So it's really, really hard to say that. It really depends on the person and the circumstances. But cool. I will pass back to Nopadan, and thank you so much for all watching.